Well, if you think in the United States that we are in a real shitty spot, well, you're not alone because Canada is in a similar spot as we are because Canada unemployment rate rises to 6.6%, sparking concerns. Oh no, oh no, right? And this is because of Paul wrote in again. Paul, I really appreciate it. If you want to write in an article, go to about section of my profile and write in. So Paul wrote in, if Canada is having this issue, it's not that just the US, and if they are at the high of level of unemployment, then it's just a matter before the US gets to this level. It's been almost the same with recession, and when it happens in the US, Canada is doing it also. I've attached a sample of what's going on, and if we are excluded 2020, which was when the US decided to put out the shelter in place for 2 months, we can see that they followed the sample exact path when it comes to the recession unemployment. It's not good, and we are not heading for a soft landing. So I got Paul's graph right here. Thanks, Paul, for sending that in. And it is absolutely detrimental. The only thing that Paul has not said is what I believe is that we've already been there. We're just forging and making the numbers look way, way better because we are in a huge, huge election this year. And they've spent billions of dollars of keeping everything afloat. Wouldn't surprise me if it comes out a few years later now that all these companies got paid tax credits or got paid some sort of way to give severance to all these people to actually then be unemployed and actually start collecting unemployment after the election. How do I know that? Well, let's look at Verizon. So I read this really interesting article that says Verizon to record up to 1.9 billion in costs for layoff asset sales in Q3. So they're going to lay some people off in September. They said they're going to lay about 4,800 people off, and they said that some of them are going to get laid off now, and some of them they're going to lay off later. And they're putting up a big chunk of money so that these numbers come in later than expected, right? So they're going to come in after the election. So now I'm looking at it like, man, if I was the Harris campaign and a Democrat, I would make sure that everything comes out after the election once it's all said and done, because then it can all go down and they can do whatever. But right now, they got to keep it up. They need to keep the wheels turning. They need to make sure that most Americans are not aware of any of this. They're making sure that all these crazy things that are going on in the market are not visible to the naked eye to all these Americans, because if they would know, they would say, we're going to vote differently because the path that we're going is really, really bad. So now let's check here. Microsoft Gaming to lay off 3% of global workforce. Here, and then this guy. This is how they're trying to justify this and pull the wool over our eyes. This is how they're trying to justify this. Applications for U.S. jobless benefits fall for 2 months low as layoffs remains at healthy levels. What are they even talking about? What are they even talking about remaining at healthy levels? They're laying these people off in mass amounts. Tesla laid off 25,000 people. Intel let go 15,000. And you're telling me that these are healthy levels? What kind of specific factors are you putting in to say this is healthy levels? So one thing I'm starting to notice is they really, really skew the statistics. So they say in a day like today, whenever you're watching this video, it needed to be blue sky, not a lot of clouds, and then this video, when you're watching this, has been the most viewed video on YouTube because it got your attention. So they're gonna make up some extraordinary type of example that it's going to be like, this is the most important thing, and they're just going to exclude everything else. And I know this is going to be never the most viewed video, but if you put enough qualifiers on it, like say Oakley glasses, put on a hat like this, use a watch like this, put on a microphone like this, and all of a sudden it is going to be the most watched video because you put so many qualifiers on, right? And that's what these people are doing. So let's just check what happened yesterday When you go to layoff tracker, it says Microsoft laid off 650 people because of video games, and Samsung Electronics laid off 200 people. Samsung India layoff 200 people. Then I don't even know how to hustle up 100% of the companies being let go. Paramount International, 50% of the company. So all these things are going on. And now I'm looking at it like, what do you do? Well, if you are renting an apartment and you're being laid off, you need to make sure you have no excess of spending. And one thing that I've seen all these people online talk about is don't use credit cards. Well, now it's time for you to put stuff on your credit card and trying to stay afloat, because there's nothing worse than using your checking account money and paying off these credit cards because that's what society told you, and all of a sudden you cannot keep your roof over your head, and so they evict you from your house, they evict you from the place that you live, and you're going to be homeless. And if you can move to your parents, this is great, you should do it. But not everybody has these opportunities. So what do? You gotta keep paying rent. That's the only thing. The car and rent, those are the things that you need to do so you can get to work. And if you can use the bus, then don't worry about the car. But you gotta keep a roof over your head, because it's gonna be hella hard to gain employment if you don't have a place where you can shower. There's a place that you can get mail to, and it's just going to make it a whole lot harder. And guess what? A lot of people don't say this, but if you lose the roof over your head, then having good credit and not having credit card debt probably isn't worth a damn. Let me know in the comments below, because actually, I just think that if you're going to become homeless and it's going to be so dramatic, it's not worth having credit card debt. If you have 1,000, if you have 10,000, if you have 30,000, it doesn't matter. You're homeless. It's like it's not that that's gonna make you not homeless and make you get a job again, right? And so then it's like in a spiral where it's just not gonna stop. And so you gotta ease the pain with credit cards. And people say, oh, you don't want to say that. Of course, because you need to use those credit cards wisely, and don't go out and spend it on unnecessary items like Rolex watches and luxury items. Keep it to a minimum and try to cook at home, try to do all that. And some stuff that I've also noticed is you guys got to be really, really smart with your money. You just got to be super smart, and don't go out and spend on stuff that you don't need. And I see what people do. Instead of hiring somebody to help them with their resume, instead of getting a resume review, instead of getting an hour of somebody's time, paying for an hour of somebody's time that can actually get you a job quicker. And I know there's a lot of scams, so you got to be aware, but you got to do it. You got to do the right decision, especially when the situation is that dire where you can't ask your friends or your family for money, especially your friends or your parents, like, hey, I really can't make it, I need some cash. So you got to be super, super aware of how you position yourself in the market. And man, food banks also, as Paul said, food banks are running out of food in Canada, and it is just a dire situation. And this is the whole globe. So this is Canada, US, and it's going to go through it all. It's going to hit Mexico, because guess what? Sometimes these companies are so short-sighted that once you realize, like, let's put all the manufacturing from John Deere to Mexico, and then they want to import it back to the United States and say, these are these tractors and they cost so much money. Who's going to buy that? Who has the money now to buy that? Because you're not paying these people in Mexico, a decent wage. That's why you move the manufacturing, because it's cheaper to manufacture, and then you want to import it and sell it to these farmers. And these farmers are like, oh, I can't afford that. I'll just keep what I got or go somewhere else. And so now they're like, oh, okay. And then when we want Chinese companies that are going to say, hey, we're going to offer a fairly inexpensive product to American consumers our own government's going to say no. They're going to say, oh, we're going to put tariffs. We're going to put 100% tariffs on these cars. And then I'm looking at it. They want to supply the United States with a $10,000 cheap car, right? That's the idea. And now I'm looking at it like, we're talking about globalism. We're talking about all these crazy things. And then when they're saying, hey, we want to import, these cheap cars from Mexico, then I'm looking at it like, why isn't American manufacturing doing it? Why isn't it? And they're like, oh, there's government subsidies. That's what you're going to say. You're going to say to me in the comments, well, China subsidizes their people. Well, so do we. Look at how many grants all these car companies got. And so there's no reason for them not to do it. They're manufacturing abroad forever now. So why isn't there a $10,000 car in the United States? When you look at the BYD CEO, he only makes about $900,000. Oh, our CEOs make 15, 16, 17 times that. So that means our executive team also makes 16, 17, 18 times that. So all of a sudden we're seeing, oh, the top 0.1% of all these companies are steamrolling and robbing everybody else with their super, super high salaries. And now all these cars are sitting on the lot just rotting. And now I'm like, you cannot afford to go out and buy a new car. No, just wait, just wait. There will be on sale. There will be another best date to buy, because it is just not worth it right now. Look at all these layoffs. Look at unemployment rates. And look at the unemployment rate. It's just not good. And now we're looking at it, hey, go retrain, go start a company. And all these things hypothetically seem great, but then when you put them into practice, it costs money. So all these people that scream, start entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship costs money. You need to either fundraise, you need to have money. Tell me one business that doesn't require to raise money and start it. So it's not that simple. And then you need a network and you need to be doing it. So most of these people that did start business like I did have been doing it for years, and it slowly starts taking off. So your first few clients are going to be the hardest, and then you're going to roll it into bigger clients and better and all that. But it's not an overnight thing. So if you're struggling right now to pay your bills and you're like, let me go into the trades. You know how much it costs to become a plumber, like a certified plumbing company, license, bond, insurance, contractors, all these license? It's absolutely ridiculous. So it's like, you can't just go out, do an LLC and say, I'm going to be a plumber tomorrow. No, you got to take licenses, you got to take classes, you got to get certified, at least if you want to do it the right way. And then it's like, oh, yeah, you can always, put a Yelp ad out and say, I'm going to help you repair this, but this requires skills too. So it is crazy now. We are living in very, very crazy times. And I haven't seen them like this, but when I read the news from Canada, Europe, it's everywhere. Germany has it. So now we're looking at it like, man, all these things together is almost like doing like a supernova, where at one point you just can't deny it anymore. But then they still have these news agencies that are reporting we're living in decent times and these layoffs are still at historic lows. It's like, what are you talking about? Tell that to people that don't have jobs. Tell that to all these people that are getting laid off. So yeah, it is crucial for you to save your money and do smart moves and educate yourself. There's so many, don't just take my word for it. Look at all these people on YouTube. Learn from them. Don't spend money on a course unless it's gonna really, really help you. Don't spend money on something that might be a guaranteed outcome, like if I'll get you a job in 90 days or something like that. No. What you gotta do is you gotta make sure that the outcome that you're gonna sign up is almost guaranteed if you sign up something in this market. And if you get resume reviews, all that kind of stuff, that's a great start. That's a good start. Start networking. Start trying to get a job, because I do think most people do want jobs. I do think that most of them do want jobs. They do wanna further themselves into all this crazy stuff, but it doesn't help when grocery prices are so expensive, when everything is just through the roof and you gotta just pay like crazy, where A basket of good at Trader Joe's, when I went the other day, it's like $80, $90, just a hand basket, not even a cart. So it is just crazy, crazy times. Let me know what you guys think. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. If you also have articles you want to send me, let me know and shoot me an email in the about section of my profile. I love chatting with you guys. And today the air is so bad from all these fires around that my throat is so scratchy. And I'm gonna show you guys a car that this is how the economy is looking like. And so this is what they're portraying the US economy to look like. And then this is what it actually is. This is what it actually is. It is a broken down Ford whatever, dented, flat tire, warning on the road that they're gonna tow it, dented everywhere, probably can't drive, Ford Fusion, so has a tag on. And this is how the US economy is rolling like. This is how I would describe it. Ball tires, probably doesn't even have gas in it, and it's just trying to creep down the road and just trying to make it with a flat tire in the back and half open gas tanks. Does it even have a bullet hole in it? No, but it wouldn't surprise me if it did. And so yeah, this is how I would describe the US economy right now. So yeah, absolutely crazy, absolutely nuts. And when you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but man, the wind and all the smoke is so bad, it creates dust on the cars, and it is just like you're breathing it in. So I'm gonna cut this video short because I need to go home. I have a scratchy throat. And please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.